Welcome back to Soulboat Sessions, the podcast about two of the best things ever, music and fermentation. This week's episode features two of my favorite local musicians, great friends, local guys Hal and Andrew Spence, one half of a father-son duo known as Sawtooth and Sons. And I first met Hal and Andrew, you guessed it, right here at the brewery during one of our weekly bluegrass jams, and it was one of those rare and kismetic afternoons when everything came together and fast friends were made over some very fast and fine picking. And what I learned over the next weeks and months is that not only were Hal and Andrew two of the most outstanding local musicians and bluegrass musicians I've heard anywhere, really. Hal also has this amazing near 60-year history in the local bluegrass scene, with anecdotes about some of the biggest stars ever in all bluegrass, including the originator himself, Mr. Bill Monroe. And that's just the storytelling. So with their family harmonies, Hal and Andrew take the material to a rare place indeed. And I hope you'll just grab a beer, relax, and enjoy this episode of Soulboat Sessions with Hal and Andrew Spence of Sawtooth and Sons.
Right this time tomorrow, boys, it'll be of no use to me. Hang your head, Tom Dooley, hang your head and cry. You killed Mallory Foster, and you know you're bound to die.
Guys, welcome. We're gonna jump right in.
All right.
We're here with Hal and Andrew Spence, who have been coming to the brewery for, at least a couple of years, almost 2 years since our first bluegrass jam. You guys were in the first month for sure, and the hairs on the back of my neck are still standing up from the first time I heard you guys sing together. I'm not kidding. It was so awesome, and I was so intimidated too, because you guys rolled up like, oh, these guys are real professionals. Like, I'm going to bring the curve down here pretty substantially. But you guys have been mainstays from the beginning in our jam sessions, and we just appreciate you so much for coming out here to hang out on the farm and tell us about Sawtooth and Sons and everything. So thanks for coming.
This is great. Never done anything like this before.
Yeah, good. Well, hopefully it'll be fun. I was just gonna start by saying thank you also for this beer. You guys are very graciously brought me a Eagle Cap India Pale Ale from Terminal Gravity. That's your hometown brewery, isn't it?
Right, yeah.
Nice. Do you ever go there? And
they have the best food probably in Monroe County.
Really?
Yeah.
And what do you like to eat there?
Oh man, we had buffalo sliders one time. We had
Like buffalo?
Stangles raised buffalo out there. They have
Cool.
I don't know how many hundred head buffalo. So, and they source almost all of their meat and whatnot locally there. The food is just excellent. It's all outside, and I don't know what they do in the winter.
And
It's 40 below. It's kind of.
And they all
gets
know each
cold.
other, and they all know Dad, and they all know everyone in our family, and
Yeah, that's with Jason and his family. Just Jason and his wife went to.
Jason's my brother.
Gotcha.
And they go up to Wild Lake all the time. And anyway, so they went there for dinner. And they're sitting there, and the guy at the table next to them said, "Oh, where are you guys from?" And he said, "Oh, what's your name?" And, "Oh, you're in relation to Hal?" And, "Oh, yeah. Well, we rode the school bus together and stuff. They live on the farm."
Oh my gosh.
So everybody knows everybody. So
That's nice. That's like the best part of a small town is that feel.
Yeah. Yeah, and Wallowa County is real isolated anyway. So because there's only 2 roads in and 2 roads out that are sometimes in the winter are closed. And
this winter must have been something else.
Oh,
We got walloped out here, huh?
yeah, so
You always post amazing pictures of the lake. What is Wallowa Lake? Is that right by?
it's right outside of Joseph, about 3 miles outside of Joseph. And it was formed by 3 glaciers that came down, so there's these perfect moraines that it formed, and the ice melted and left the lake.
So cool, beautiful spot. And did your whole family grow up there? And
Just mine.
Your family grew up there?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
they homesteaded from in the 1870s or something. About 2 years after they kicked Chief Joseph out, my family came and homesteaded theirs.
But they didn't kick Chief Joseph out.
No, they didn't.
So your family has a really long history there. That's awesome. Yeah. And growing up was music always a big part of your household?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, my brother, I think I was in the 2nd grade, he would be in the 4th grade, and he bought he got in the Columbia Record Club.
Oh, nice.
You know, one of those where you can't get out of it, and we had to get an attorney to get out of it. But
oh my God.
But he got a Flat and Scruggs Folk Songs of Our Land, and then he got a Jim and Jesse record, and I thought that was the best music I'd ever heard. Best sound I'd ever heard in my life was Jim and Jesse and the Virginia Boys.
What was it about the sound precisely that fired you up so much?
Just it was 2 brothers, you know, and their harmonies were just impeccable. They sounded like, and you know, and I loved it. And then I loved the album cover. And Jim,
I can't picture it right now.
Yeah, Jim.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Played, or he sang tenor, and he played I think it was a 51 D28, and it was on the album. And I thought someday I'm going to have a guitar like that.
Oh, that is awesome.
When you were in 4th grade?
Yeah.
That is awesome.
So.
Well, it was like the rock and roll of the era in a way, right? You know, fast, like super rhythmic, you know,
well, I mean, they had
bluegrass.
that. Well, we didn't have any radio. We had it's still there, KWVR, Quiver Radio.
Okay.
And it was owned by a guy that was in the John Birch Society guy.
Wow.
And so he wouldn't play any music that was popular because it was all communist.
Okay.
I mean, that's what he
That's
thought.
what I thought.
And so, like, we always joke about, a friend and I we worked for different farmers and stuff when we didn't have stuff to do on our farm, and I helped paint a barn for a guy. And so we painted that barn white, 3 coats that summer, and so we had a little radio. The only station you can get is that, and so we probably heard Al Martino singing Spanish Eyes probably 24 times every day.
Wow. Right, they just kept replaying like,
I know.
Here goes again.
Al Martino singing Spanish Eyes.
You could be a radio host.
Oh, yeah.
Do that.
You have to have a deep
Give them
voice.
some competition down there.
You have to have a deep voice to be radio.
And you have to have a high voice for bluegrass, right?
Yeah.
Ideally.
Yeah.
Well, that's so cool. And growing up there, and now you still live there, close to where you grew up?
No, I live in Dallas.
Excuse me, now Dallas. Okay, but do you ever go back there? And
Sometimes. My brother's still there. He has the flight service over there. So.
Nice. How about you, Andrew? Did you guys, what's your earliest memories of like hearing bluegrass with your dad or otherwise?
Well, I mean, from the second I can remember memories, he was in a group called Sawtooth Mountain Boys, and they were practicing all the time at our house, rehearsing, or we were at a festival, or we were at a gig, Dallas City Park, or whatever. So that's basically all I heard growing up was.
And were you just like camping out, sitting down watching them, or did you get involved in any way? Like, hey.
At that age, not really. I think I was fascinated by the banjo because it looked like a crazy, like a drum head with like metal all around it.
Right.
Like it looked like I had no idea what it was. I was fascinated by how that looked, but I wasn't really into bluegrass then.
Yeah, the early days.
Yeah, it was maybe wanted nothing to do with it at that point in my life.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you played electric.
Well,
electric guitars and stuff.
sort of, yeah.
But you were around live music, right? And that energy of like people coming together and jamming, that must have been really, had a big impact, I would think, just
Yeah,
seeing everybody have fun and sing.
It totally did, and I'll go watch live music anytime. It doesn't even matter what type of music it is. As long as I can see what's going on, I'll go watch live music.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, and you've recently done some classes and some seminars and things like that where you've been traveling around. I feel like you went back to one last year, which was like a kind of flat picking camp or something.
Yeah, it was. I don't like to call it camp. That sounds nerdy. I think they called it camp.
Okay.
It was. I'll call it a workshop. It was a
Workshop.
guitar workshop.
Okay.
Like a bluegrass flat picking workshop put on by Brian Sutton.
Yeah. For those who may be hearing this and not aware, is one of the top players in all, modern bluegrass, a great instructor, like most respected players alive, I would say.
Yeah, and he's from. So the camp was held in Brevard, North Carolina, and he's from right around there. It's far western North Carolina, Brevard, Asheville, Arden area, and that's where he is from. He grew up. At the camp, I met his mom and his dad and his daughters, and so it was a fantastic experience.
Did you play music one-on-one with him or in small groups? I mean, that'd be incredible.
There was a bunch of instructors. It was his first time running the camp, so he was really busy running around, like kind of coordinating everything, logistics. But there was Courtney Hartman, which is another big name, and David Greer, another huge name.
Holy cow.
Grant Gordy was there. I feel bad, I'm going to forget someone. Dana Bourgeois was there to kind of talk about. He's a maker of guitars, Bourgeois guitars,
Gotcha.
And he was there to like kind of give instruction on how to care for your guitar, how to tune it, how to keep the action right, how to travel with it, stuff like that.
That's awesome. I feel like the bluegrass community has, it's just gone through a couple huge waves, like in the late, whenever it was at 99 when Oh Brother Where Art Thou came out. That was an explosion in bluegrass's popularity. And then I feel like obviously we're going through another major resurgence. It's never gone away, of course, but like the popularity, the size of the festivals, the artists are getting onto the Grammys, and really, really amazing stuff going on. It's just an amazing community of people, that would come together for something like that too.
Yeah, there's like Alison Krauss is playing with Robert Plant, and so everyone that knows Robert Plant now knows Alison Krauss, and that's kind of directing them this direction. And Billy Strings is a phenom, if that's the right word. Like that,
to say the least. Really something else. He'll be up here coming up this end of the summer. I already got my tickets. So excited.
The one that we always kind of joked about it because there was always a big explosion of something. The one before that was the movie Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And Foggy Mountain Breakdown. And so every place we played, can you play Foggy Mountain Breakdown? And then there was the Will the Circle Being Broken album when it came out.
Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
And I don't know. There's every once in a while there's this peak, and then
right.
People rediscover how great it is.
Yeah.
I have to agree. It's elemental. There's something like in the American character, I would think, not without to get too lofty, but there's something about bluegrass that really stirring. Even if you are maybe not interested, right on the surface, it somehow can grab you, that driving energy, or the other flavors of bluegrass that are more kind of droning. And like we had a clawhammer player on. It was so cool going into that, more of that kind of like
modal
toning.
Yeah. And it's strings vibrating on wood with no auto tune and no like correction. Everyone's standing around in a circle. It's kind of pure energy, right? Yeah,
energy exchange. It's awesome. Let's go now. How you got to tell us some stories about Sawtooth. He just arrived today with a book, when they write the book on American bluegrass. Wait, they already have, and it's sitting here on the counter.
There's actually,
and it has a picture of Sawtooth. So tell us a little bit about your band and what was that like starting the band, and some highs and lows.
How many hours you got?
I better get another beer.
When I went to after high school, I went to college in La Grande, at Eastern Oregon, college for a couple of years, and there was a guy that was and I was in a bluegrass band over there, which I'm still in, but from 1969.
That's a good run.
Yeah, and this guy that used to live in LeGrand would come home, and I met him, Steve Waller, and so he knew I was coming to Corvallis to go to school. So he said, "Well, we need a guitar player and a tenor," and so went over to his house, and so they started in the band. It started with Mike Eisler and Steve Waller, ended up being roommates, just completely out of the blue. One's from Oklahoma and one's from Tennessee, LeGrand, or Oregon. And so they ended up being roommates. Well,
Wow.
hey, yeah, I play guitar, and well, I do too. And,
Amazing.
And so they started playing at hootenannies and stuff. That was in 1965. So then they had put together a band and were playing. And then they played at a halftime performance of UCLA and Oregon State basketball, and it was nationally televised.
Amazing.
Of them playing, and there was, and this was right at the end of the Bonnie and Clyde era.
Yeah,
And,
beginning
so-
of Bob Dylan and stuff.
And it's still, people talk about that it was even on in the TV Guide magazine,
Right,
picture
right.
and everything,
listed.
Yeah, and so anyway,
That's incredible.
If you don't know
they-
what TV Guide magazine
Yeah.
is,
but
I
then,
remember that. I used to flip through it and through
yeah,
that.
but then everybody
It
went
was
their
Band
own
of the
ways.
Lost on again.
Then they all moved back, and then they started the band again, and they got rid of it. It was called the Sawtooth Mountain Volunteers, because
In Tennessee.
the Sawtooth, two of the guys are from Emmett, Idaho, in the Sawtooth Range, and then Steve was from Tennessee, so the Sawtooth Mountain Volunteers. Well, believe it or not, but a lot of people said, "Oh, you want to be paid? Well, what's the volunteer?"
Oh, funny.
And it was like, it's a name, you know.
You haven't heard of Tennessee football.
Yeah. So then, so we played. I played in that band 26 years, and we got to know each other for like we were brothers. We fought like brothers, but it was, we played a lot of festivals, and we played all over the West, and then we did 2 tours of Great Britain. And then a tour of mainland Europe.
Oh my gosh, so fun.
Super fun.
Super fun. I mean,
Yeah.
a young man on the road playing your favorite music, just, making some money. Must have been
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, well, and we all had bosses that were, well, a couple of them were their own bosses, but I worked for an engineering firm, and and I went to my boss and said, I want to know if I could be gone for 3 weeks. Why? Oh, I'm going to Europe and playing music. Yeah, go ahead, go.
Amazing.
Go, you'll learn more there. It's like, okay.
That's amazing.
So,
What a blessing, right?
yeah, oh man. Yeah, it was, those, there were times when, I remember one particular event, we played in a Grass Valley festival in California.
yeah,
Okay.
famous festival.
Yeah, and we played there one evening, and it was like probably 80 degrees. Sun had gone down, 80 degrees, and I think they said they cut off the cars at 10,000.
Oh my God.
And so as far as you could see in the pines were just people, and
10,000 cars.
yeah. Well, somebody said that. I have no idea if there was anywhere near
A
that.
massive concert.
Yeah,
No
and
matter
so
what.
and so like they introduce us and walk out on stage and it's dead silence, and we played, and it just everything clicked and everything is like, I
Here we
mean,
go.
we were all having those moments of like, where they get the kind of chills, like
Yeah.
wow,
It's
the
almost-
sound was perfect.
It's
and
sort of
it was-
magical, those
Yeah,
like,
and
moments.
it doesn't happen a lot. But the sound guy,
You know when
there-
it does.
the sound guy was really good, which you never got at a festival, where they have 55 buttons out there and they have to play with them.
Yeah.
So just put them on and don't touch them, and they're,
Right.
Yeah,
Were you guys
so-
doing single mic stuff at that point, or was it
We
Each have an
started.
individual mic.
We started doing with 3 mics together, and then an instrument mic for everybody. But then we changed to the we had an old RCA BK5B microphone, radio mic.
Yeah,
And
with the cage almost.
and so that way there was one button.
Yeah.
Just turn the volume up.
I mean,
leave it alone.
the traditional bluegrass is like a single mic and everyone huddles
Moves-
around it. And
moves
like if
in
you
and
take an instrument break, you kind of hold your instrument up and
Yeah.
but everyone sings around it and you adjust like your volume by moving forward.
and out.
Yeah,
And part of the discography, that's not the right word.
maybe.
What's a dance move?
Choreography.
I know it's one of those choreographies, but where everybody, is moving in and out, like he has a banjo break and moves in from back and then moves out, and so there's all this movement on stage.
Everyone's got a peg head and
Yeah.
they're
And-
ducking in and
Yeah.
out. And
And then the other thing too that I think Sawtooth had, besides vocals, and then Mike Eisler, who's probably one of the premier banjo players ever, and but Steve Waller was an entertainer, and he was first and foremost an entertainer.
Really bring that
And
energy
just
up.
like
he had like a charisma like that
Charisma,
would just
just-
draw everyone in.
and like in fact a couple of times at this Grass Valley Festival, we'd come off stage and we're all standing around talking to people around us, and then people would look at me and going, "Oh, were you in that band?" Like
Yeah, standing up there.
But the only
I'm wearing the
person-
matching suit. Come on, guys.
yeah, the only person they ever saw was Steve, but he was and some people in the band didn't appreciate that 99% of the people go out to hear live music to be entertained.
Yeah.
They
true.
don't go to sit and take notes on how you played a banjo break,
Yeah, there's room for both, right? But
There
mostly
is.
it's about entertainment and giving people a good time.
Yeah.
Like I'm fun.
We did.
I mean, I go to take notes on it.
I know. Well, we had
That's hard.
we played in Emmen, Emmen, in the Netherlands, and it was a house concert that had like 20 people, and there was a bluegrass band from Czechoslovakia. This is just after the Iron Curtain went down, and they're sitting in the front row taking notes. That was a little weird.
This is how you.
Yeah,
This is how you do it.
And then the next night we played in Amman at a international music festival. We played right after the klezmer band from Israel, and there was a samisen band after us from Japan, and it was a concert hall that was, I don't know how many people were there, but it was a huge, sloped floor, and then there was 3 balcony layers, and they were all full.
Amazing.
And the stage was at least 100 feet wide.
Oh my gosh.
So we walk out on the stage, and it's like,
The Grand Ole Opry or something, yeah.
yeah.
Well, you guys also had the opportunity to open for some big acts, as I remember. Did any jump out? I feel like you mentioned some country stars from
The name dropping portion of the.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Well, I don't know. I mean,
I just remember being amazed that was it Merle Haggard or somebody that came?
yeah. Before I was in the band, they did a warm up for him, and but we played with Alison Krauss twice
Wow.
before she was anybody.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
but she
before
was like a
anybody-
prodigy fiddle
Yeah,
player.
and then
it's incredible.
Bill Monroe, of course. So,
Wait.
we did.
Bill Monroe, like the Bill Monroe.
Yeah,
Bill
2 or
Monroe,
3.
You guys shared a stage with him.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
we were the warm up band for Bill Monroe, and we were warming up behind. That was at a concert hall at Portland, University of Portland, I think it was, and we were warming up, and so Bill comes walking in where we're warming up, and we happened to be doing one of his songs. It was a gospel.
Big Mon, or what was it?
Gospel tune.
Yeah, that we recorded. Anyway, and so it has this really high tenor part, and he comes up to me and he goes, puts his arm around
Wicked
me.
Path of Sin.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Which one?
The Wicked Path of Sin.
Wicked Path of Sin. Okay.
And anyway, he walks up and he puts his arm around me and he's never And I said, what? I'm sorry? And he was, because he had a really deep Southern accent, and he was saying, they have no sympathy for tenors, do they?
Oh, gotcha.
And Steve had to translate, like,
Yeah.
You know, I felt so stupid, because, who are you? Bill Monroe?
You were goofing around with Bill Monroe. That's incredible. The father of bluegrass.
Yeah.
I mean, grandfather, great grandfather.
I rode on his bus. They were playing in Corvallis, and they happened to be at a restaurant, and they were there, and they wanted to know how to get there. And I said, "Oh, well, you can go. Why don't you just ride up with us?" And, okay.
Oh,
So I rode on the Bluegrass Express, their bus.
So much fun.
So, and then Steve went and put a Sawtooth Mountain Boys bumper sticker on the back of the bus,
Nice.
and it was there for years.
I bet it was. Good
Yeah,
move.
and then there was a book kind of like that was a history of bluegrass and country music, and there's a picture of Bill Monroe in there sitting talking with his nurse, and he's wearing a Sawtooth Mountain Boys t-shirt.
No way. Okay, that's amazing.
So it's
Well,
like,
kudos to all that. That's incredible. Just
Yeah.
rubbing shoulders with giants. I mean,
Yeah.
one more quick question about Sawtooth in those days. What did you have? I don't know. Were you known for one song in particular, any originals, or was it something that you guys loved to just close shows with, or that you were particularly like known for in any?
I don't know. Not really. We
Just like the Flat and Scruggs kind of driving style of traditional bluegrass.
Well, the one I always remember is Blackjack that we did at the Portland State concert.
Yeah.
And it just, we cooked on it. It was just ripping. I mean,
Yeah.
it was faster than
I've learned some of the breaks from it, and it's really it's faster than J.D. Crowe originally recorded it, and it's faster than he recorded it.
And and it was just the whole place was just kind of electric, and then right this instant it stopped, Steve goes Blackjack, like and just
Perfect.
And the crowd just
Went wild. Oh,
it was fun.
That's amazing. Wow, that is so cool. Well, all this talk of fast, hard driving bluegrass makes me want to hear some tunes. You guys feel like playing something? And if you want to, we can set up and do one. Or we can keep yakking. I love chatting. I could talk all day about bluegrass.
Well, I could too.
I love this stuff.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Those stories are amazing. That's so cool. We were talking about this the other day when I meet someone like I've never met Bill Monroe, but the aura that certain people have that can just you just feel it.
Yeah.
The talent level and the best ones are always very generous and giving with their time too. And that's something that in the beer world we really lucky to have some great mentors, and like the best people really are unselfish and give you their full attention and say, how can I help you?
They share it.
And when I was coming up, for sure, I got so much help from people. And the best ones were always like an open book, like, what can I do to help you? So it's cool that you're into the same thing I am, and that's kind of what this show is about for us. Is just we think beer and music are the two best things ever. So let's just talk about it.
One of the things too is Raleigh Champ was in Sawtooth for almost the whole time I was in it. He did take 4 years, I think it was. His wife was doing her PhD in Clemson. So he went back there and played in a few bands. But then he came back, and so his son, Brett, and Andrew, they all drug around to different festivals and stuff, and like I always remember the winery, the Airley winery. It had a big pond with salamanders, and so Andrew and Jason and Annie and Brett were all out there chasing salamanders and stuff,
Fun.
But so now, we get to play together again. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's so nice. So Sawtooth and Sons is the two of you, or you have a bigger band that you're putting together?
Well,
There's 4 of us.
It's a 4-piece band. Yeah,
Raleigh,
and you guys are touring.
Raleigh and his son Brett
Yep.
on mandolin, and then me and then Andrew on banjo.
So cool. And you guys playing the old tunes, new tunes? Like, where do you draw this up from?
Mostly old. A lot of stuff that Sawtooth did in
some of the originals of Sawtooth.
Original Sawtooth tunes and stuff that they were just sort of known for.
You know, the song that I think I first became aware of your awesome harmonies and singing, playing together, was probably East Virginia Blues.
We talked about doing that one.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I mean, I love that tune. I think it's just because of the way the harmony works, and particularly the lilting kind of rhythm of that song. But that one was the thing where I had to race out and figure out what was that tune again, and try to go figure it out. It's just so good, and not one you hear all that often actually, but it's a great tune. Love that one. So,
Well, we can play a few tunes.
listen to how loud this guitar is, Andrew.
My case is right there. Go look at there's some photos
Okay.
at the top.
Okay.
Go get those now.
Photos of the original state of things. Yeah, come check this out. This is, oh yeah, go for it. Oh my God.
Is this the building of it?
The unbuilding.
Oh, the unbuilding.
A guy, well, the story I got in 1971, I was in college at Oregon State, and I went down to the Troubadour music store, and he had a box in the back where he was repairing, and he had this box with all these pieces of guitar in it, and I saw it was a Martin,
Okay.
and I said, well, how much for that? I'd like to try rebuilding it. And he goes, there's nothing left of it. A guy drove a pickup over it, and then he tried to fix it himself,
Wow.
and like using things like bathtub caulking, which is not exactly.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I said I'd like to have it, and like to get it. And said, well, he said the peg head, the sticker on the peg head, that's worth $100. So give me $100. This is 1971.
Wow.
So I said, oh, okay. So I go back to the dorm, in this box carrying all these pieces, and the kids are going, you paid $100 for a box of kindling?
Oh.
And so, well, yeah, but it's a Martin. Yeah, but so,
And that's this guy right here.
yeah. And so over the years, I'd work on it, and then I'd run that, didn't know what I was doing, and so I'd stop, and so what, 5 years ago, I guess it was now, I was able to, after I retired, I put it together, and
Okay.
and so that was great, and it sounded good, but we were playing this band at the Eocene. We were playing at a festival in Montana. It was like 95 degrees, and we're getting ready, and I was tuning up to go on stage, and he goes, whack! And I looked, and the whole top just split right down here, and everything went like this. So I brought it back and thought, oh man, I had to borrow a guitar. So I gave it to Dennis Burke in Eugene, who's like the guru of, he'd work on yours. And I said, here, it's yours. And the problem was that the guy had sanded the finish off.
Okay.
So the top, instead of being about 110 thousandths, was 80 thousandths.
Okay.
And so he went in through the sound hole between the X bracing here and put a laminated piece of aged spruce inside to bring it up to 110 thousandths. Doing it all with mirrors and
Oh my goodness.
yeah. And so then,
And that's just for like the resonance and all that?
well, structurally,
So the strings
So-
don't pull it apart.
so it doesn't fall apart.
good job,
So,
yeah.
but anyway, so far it's flat as can be, and so,
Wow.
and it sounds good.
It sounds incredible.
Yeah. So
All right, guys. Well, take it away whenever you're ready.
East Virginia Blues. This is an old song. I don't know when.
Yeah, older than I know of. Everyone and their dog's done this song.
Yeah, I
but
don't even know.
older
I've
than
heard-
older than Carter family probably.
Yeah,
Like,
and I've heard versions of it that were like just I was born in East Virginia.
You can do that style if you want.
Yeah.
we normally do a little bit more hard driving version of this, like in the band, but with just two people, it's hard to incorporate a banjo and so
Okay.
I don't normally play guitar on this. So
But when you do, you play it well. So I'm
Go
glad
ahead.
to see
I don't know if I ever have, other than maybe last night. Let's see. No.
young maiden, and her name I did not know. Oh, her hair was dark and curly, and her cheeks were rosy red. On her breast she wore white lilies, where I longed to lay my head. Molly dear, go ask your mother if my bride might ever be. If she says no, come back and tell me, and I'll run away with thee. No, I'll not go ask my mother where she lies on her bed of rest. In her hand she holds a dagger, kill the man that I love best. I'll go back to East Virginia. North Carolina ain't my home. I'll go back to East Virginia, leave them North Carolinians alone. The ocean's deep and I can't wade it, and I have no wings to fly. I'll just get me a blue-eyed boatman for to row me o'er the tide. I don't want your greenback dollar, and I don't want your watch and chain. All I want is your heart, darling. Say it, take me back again. Oh, you know I'd like to see you at my door. You're welcome in. At my gate I'll always greet you, for you're the girl I try to win. Told me that you love me true. Sweetheart, I thought the world of you. Now you left me all alone. I have no one to call my own. Now, sweetheart, you done me wrong. You have left me all alone. Maybe there will come a time, sweetheart, when you will change your mind. I never shall forget the day when you said you were going away. I couldn't believe that it was true. After all the love I had for you. Now, sweetheart, you done me wrong. You have left me all alone. Maybe there will come a time, sweetheart, when you will change your mind. This road is rough and rocky too, as I travel on
I think that's a Flat and Scruggs. That's why I first heard that.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
So we sort of did two things that just line up with the genre, like horrifically sad or.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you guys that. What is the saddest bluegrass song? Is it possible to get, I mean, there's no depth
there's
to
one that
the
Alison Krauss does.
the weird and sad.
Oh, we don't even need to bring that one up.
I know some of them are like there are little footprints in the snow. Like some of them are just like creepy and bizarre. And, it's like Grimm's fairy tales to me almost.
The one we do on stage is called "Banks of the Ohio," and it's a pretty famous song, but it's so bad that we almost laugh every time we're on stage because we're singing like a 2-part harmony throughout, and then he's like beating her to death, and it's just so bad.
There's some gruesome stuff.
You guys, we could change the pace a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what, but we don't need to do like a third slow sad song.
No, I do have a song that I wrote. We're not going to do that today. I don't think.
It's up to you guys.
It's one that was a true story of when I was growing up, and
in Enterprise near terminal gravity.
Yeah, and the lady in the evening went out to feed the cows. In November, there's snow on the ground, it's frozen and all this. She climbs up on the haystack, and the strings on the top break. She fell about 15 feet onto a board, and it broke her back. She couldn't move. So her 3-year-old daughter goes out to find her. Well, and her 3-year-old daughter stays with her and doesn't leave. And then their son, who's 11, goes out in the morning and finds him.
What was the temperature?
It was below freezing.
Yeah.
And she had a little scarf on, kind of thing. And so anyway, he couldn't drive, so he runs and jumps on the tractor and drives 3 miles to Joseph. And,
to tell about.
And he found the marshal, and the marshal got the doctor, and they went out, and they're both frozen. And so we did that song in LeGrand and Pendleton.
Your college group did that song.
Yeah, the EOC, the Lad Canyon Ramblers EOC, and just a few weeks ago. And it's the first time I'd been able to sing the song without choking up.
It's very, very
tragic.
Knowing that it's a true story.
Yeah. So on the break, I went over, and did our first set, and on break I was talking to some people. And this lady comes over and just grabs me and hugs me, and she's just sobbing, and my wife's going, I better go see what's going on here. And so she comes over. Anyway, this lady said, the song is called Mary Lou. She said, Mary Lou was my mother and Jenny Lee was my sister.
Oh my God. Wow. Amazing. I'm getting chills again.
That's like,
wow.
We could probably try it later if you wanted to.
Up to you guys. That what you're tapping into, the true stories. That I heard an amazing story about. So Gordon Lightfoot just passed away. Great artist.
Yeah.
And there's a line in the song about the bells, 29 bells chiming for the lost sailors of the record in the Edmund Fitzgerald. Right. And last weekend they chimed 29 for the sailors and one for Gordon Lightfoot.
Wow.
It was incredible.
Wow.
I just hearing that was just like that it's one song, one story, but it echoes through time. It's like generations of people that can relate to that accident.
And then that's the thing, and she loved the song, and I sent her the words and a recording of it and stuff. But anyway, in the old days, before we had radio and all, that's how news was passed.
Right.
All of the train wreck songs were true stories, and that's how people told
trains.
What happened.
I'd love to hear a train song if they've got one in here. There's a train line behind here, the Southern Pacific Railroad. Growing up, I loved that train. I walked across the trestle insanely many times. I rode my bike over it once. Ooh. That was our favorite thing to do. Yeah, it was very stupid. But there was also, it derailed one day, and I was out on my bike, and it went off the tracks, and you could see it knocking the trees over up on the winery right now. One of my strongest memories of being like 13 is seeing a freight train derail. That's a song. That's something we were writing.
Monroe. No.
comes the 5-string banjo. Andrew, you're gonna play that thing for us? That's awesome.
Yeah, well, it's not as sad as the songs we already did. It can kind of change the pace a little bit.
Yeah.
But this is how we open all the sets with Sawtooth and Sons is this song.
Okay.
We'll see if I can play it.
Nice. That's your opener?
That's our opener, yeah.
Very cool.
And sometimes I start it way too fast. I can't keep up with myself. Sometimes I start it way too slow and it sort of drags. But
What's it called again?
that's Sawtooth Mountain Breakdown.
That's Sawtooth Mountain Breakdown. That's it.
Mike Eisler wrote
Yeah.
that. I don't know what.
Well, we
Time
recorded
frame that
that
was.
in 75.
The Fireball Mail.
Yeah.
That's our. So Christian and I, you and I know each other because of the jam, and that's like a good jam, like opener because
Just
two chords, easy melody.
Get
You
warmed
can
up.
pretty much
not ripping.
you
Just
can
kinda-
pretty much play anything over the two chords, and it doesn't matter.
Nice.
And it has lyrics, but I don't know. So,
When our friend Don from McMinnville comes to the jam, he'll sing the lyrics, but
Yeah.
no one else knows the lyrics. Ready? Oh.
had to get a drink. All right.
That's G&D.
Nice. Nice. Oh, hey, that's a good jam warm up. Speaking of the jam, yeah, it's a good time to just plug that every Thursday. We've been doing this for a couple of years. All comers, all abilities, so much fun. It's really just been such a beautiful thing. So I just want to thank anyone listening who has been to the Bluegrass Jam or has come and played, especially you two, for helping, come and, share what you do so well. And like, it has just added so much to the brewery life and my personal life. I can't thank you guys enough. It's just really cool. So
Yeah.
we love it, and we want to
It's-
keep it going.
It's always nice to have. Because it wasn't that long ago that I didn't know how to play. I never played around people,
Really,
and so having some place to go that was like,
judgment-free zone.
yeah, judgment-free zone. You could either sit in the back and like noodle around and not be heard, or you could like be heard and make terrible, crazy mistakes and no one cares.
Yep,
And-
I can relate to the latter for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing with anybody that's starting out, is that everybody started there.
Yeah.
And I recall many times we used to go to Weezer, to the old time fiddle contest, and there's a huge following of bluegrass people that would show up, and I'd just stand in the background and try to
Yeah, I mean,
try to play, and I remember a guy told me, he said, well, okay, instead of just thrashing, play the bass note on the 1 and the 3, and then the other strum, and work on that. And I was like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
pat your
Yeah,
head
yeah,
and rubbing
yeah.
your stomach.
yeah. I mean, you are the bass. You are the rhythm section right there.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
playing the bass and the drums.
Having
That's
someone
it.
explain that to you is
Yeah, the 1 and the 3, and you're also the
Yeah,
chuck.
and, so, and a lot of times people are just
which technically sounds good. Like if you're a singer-songwriter and you're singing in a coffee shop, that sounds great.
Right.
If you're in a group of 20 musicians that don't necessarily know how to play, great.
Right.
You need a solid like rhythm.
Yeah, and it's all about listening to like filling in places, right? You know, where like you're stepping up to play a bass line essentially, and with the lack of a break bass player here in this room right now, you're laying down that bass line and making space for his higher notes, and it just works so.
And when we were playing both guitars earlier, I was trying to do the bass notes
Yeah.
while he was singing, because I wasn't singing, so I can focus more on that. But
Yeah, very underrated skill, right? Like the rhythm guitarists are,
Yeah.
you know, the holding it together a lot.
And I think the guy that I really liked to listen to just for his guitar playing to emulate was Rodney Dillard.
Rodney Dillard.
Really?
Of all things, yeah. Because
Of the Dillards?
Of the Dillards, and he. You know, he was doing all this stuff behind, and it was like, oh, so.
Jake Eddy is a guitarist. You guys might have seen this guy. He plays really fast. Amazing online guy. He's online. He tours a lot. Session musician, but he recently did a bunch of presentations on rhythm playing that were really cool. And he came on tour to Portland, and I went to it. And hearing him talk about rhythm, and he kind of showed like what you could do with like, okay, here's just me playing the most basic background thing, and then here I am filling a little more. And then he started talking about what Tony Rice used to do with the passing chords and the strange voicings, and but still laying down a very solid rhythmic bass, but then putting these incredible flourishes and almost like jazz notes and passing unusual little rhythms and offbeats that just somehow like. And he kind of took it to the illogical extreme to show this is what you could do if you're just pulling out all the stops on rhythm, almost like a form of lead playing. But cool though.
And that works especially great if you're like playing rhythm by yourself, singing. Like a lot of what I like about Billy Strings, which he got from Doc Watson and probably tons of other people, is they're like a solo act.
Yeah.
And there you hear everything. You hear the rhythm, you hear the lead, you hear the accompaniment to their voice, like just with a guitar.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, incredible. Speaking of Billy Strings, he is coming on tour here, so excited to see that. And like you probably saw the video of him playing Clarence White's guitar / Tony Rice's guitar recently. That was an incredible video, just for the opportunity to take it out of the case after 10 years, play it in the living room, then take it on stage and play it on. Yeah, it was really amazing. There's a lot of worthy players. You could argue, but I think what he's doing is so exciting and just an undeniable force in the music.
And he has, I don't know if it matters to mention, but he has a lot of connections to Oregon. His banjo player's from Portland, Billy Failing.
Billy Failing is from Portland?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And
that's amazing.
He has several signature and otherwise guitars from Preston Thompson.
Yep.
Which was the first T-shirt I saw you wearing when I first showed up to the jam. You were wearing a Preston Thompson
I have
shirt.
one guitar T-shirt. I'm gonna wear it and see if it, and then you guys picked up on it. I'm like, oh, nice.
Preston Thompson Guitars is in Sisters, Oregon, and then their fiddle player that they've had for maybe a year now,
Alex
Hargreaves.
Mm-hmm.
His dad used to come to our jam in Amity,
That's incredible.
and so
And didn't Alex come and play locally at a jam?
with
Dave from
bootleg jam.
Yeah, bootleg
Dave.
jam. So that's amazing. I mean, I'll say that just having been a attendee at the Edgefield shows a couple of years ago, it was the first show I'd been to out of the coronavirus lockdown. The mood in the crowd that day, I think it was I feel like it was an early September show, maybe mid-September, but a sunny warm day, and I've never seen a more like electrified up crowd. People were absolutely levitating with excitement for a big show, and it was just incredible. I mean, people are still talking about that show 2 years ago, even though it's also come back again, and that one was good too. But that one 2 years ago was just, for me, I'm just like, I'm a fan for life now. It was
and like what you were saying about Steve Waller, like I don't even know what it is that he does, but the showmanship or the charisma or whatever he's doing on stage, on top of being a phenomenal guitar player, like best in the world
level.
Like he just generates energy in the crowd. It's great.
Yeah,
It's being a natural entertainer.
Yeah,
natural entertainer. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
And I'm not sure that he would say that he is.
No.
He's pretty shy.
Pretty humble. Yeah, he seems like super down to earth, which is refreshing.
I'll bet. I mean, like Steve, we'd walk into a restaurant and instantly Steve's on stage. His voice is booming, and people just gravitate to him. We'd go in a restroom.
A restroom?
A restroom, and we're in there doing our thing, and somebody'd walk in, and so Steve would start singing, and then Raleigh and I start singing harmonies, and the rest of the people are kind of going, "Okay, I just came in to pee,"
Okay, two shows.
Yeah, but he was always on stage. He was just that kind of guy.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, do you guys want to do a couple more? You're feeling it, and we're loving this. We're welcome to jam as long as you want.
Can we do that one? This song is well, you probably remember it. We did it at the jam a few times. It was written by the guy that played banjo and then bass in Sawtooth, and he was a professor at Oregon State, a research professor, and he passed away 3 or 4 years ago now, but he wrote a bunch of really good songs, and there were only probably a couple, 2 or 3 that were ever recorded, and this is one of them. And he didn't like the way it was after he was out of the band.
Just like Merle Haggard-ish esque.
Yeah, and but he was like he started a bluegrass band in New Zealand. He was teaching at the medical school in wherever it was, South Island of New Zealand. Started a bluegrass band. They had a TV show like every Wednesday night or whatever it was. So
Awesome.
So he start this in this.
I don't know.
Never done it in this
We've
keyboard.
done it in the C position, but.
Just like every hurting song that I've ever heard before.
So, this is the first song that I learned by ear from Earl Scruggs on the banjo. And then I saw, so I heard it, and then I learned it, and then it sort of like kind of grabbed me, and I've listened to every single person on YouTube that's ever done this song do this song, and it's still my favorite one to play, favorite one to sing. We do this in almost every set. F, I think.
F.
I don't ever play guitar on it. I normally play banjo because it's normally a more fast-paced, hard driving song. Even though it's a pretty sad song, on guitar it's a little bit more mellow. It fits this room. It's more mellow. Ready?
Okay.
It was long, long ago in the moonlight. We were sitting by the banks of the stream when you whispered so sweetly, I love you. And the waters murmured a tune. Oh, they tell me your love is like a flower in the springtime blossom so fair. In the fall when it withers away, dear, and they tell me that's the way of your love. It was spring when you whispered these words, dear. The flowers, they were blooming so fair. But today, as the snow falls around us, I can see that your love is not there. Oh, they tell me your love is like a flower in the springtime blossom so fair. In the fall when it withers away, dear, and they tell me that's the way of your love. I remember the night, little darling, we were talking of days gone by, when you whispered so sweetly, I love you, and for me, your love would never die. Oh, they tell me your love is like a flower in the springtime blossom so fair. In the fall when it withers away, dear, and they tell me that's the way of your love, and they tell me that's the way of your love.
Okay. And this is called Lamplighting Time, and it's also an old
Yeah, older than I. Let's see. There it is.
There's a lamp shining bright in a cabin. In a window it's shining for me. But I know that my mother is praying for the boy she is longing to see. When it's left back to my home. But I know that old lamp in the window, it will guide me wherever I roam. It's lamp of lighting time, she sits waiting, for she knows not the crimes that I've done. But I'll change all my ways and I'll meet her up in heaven when life's race is run. When it's lamp lighting time in the valley, in my dreams I go back to my home. But I see that old lamp in the window, it will guide me wherever I roam. Yes, it will guide me wherever I roam.
So, I think we should tell it's not really a story, but we should talk about your guitar and my dad's guitar.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that was, so, I remember when you guys first came, I was always so nervous to be in these bluegrass jams because, like, I was like, I have no business hosting a jam. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a complete novice. And the first people that came were Dave Porch and Cam Ernst.
Yeah.
Ernst, and he has been on the show too. He talked about, he did the Clawhammer segment with us, which was super cool. But I remember you guys rolled up and you brought that guitar and, you know, and I found my guitar in a pawn shop. And I've told this story to you guys before, but it was one of those moments, like a life-changing moment, where I'm like, I've been carrying a guitar pick around in my pocket as a good luck charm for like 20 years, you know, or more, since college, because, you know, and my buddy Dave will hear this hopefully. He you know, he got me into guitars at Martin's and everything, so you got to find yourself an old Martin someday.
Walla Walla? That dude?
Yeah, that Dave from Walla Walla. We played in a bunch of bands together. He's out in Charleston now. Hi, Dave. And great dude, great player, plays all the instruments, and he kind of got me into focused on old guitars and thinking about playing them, and, you know, kind of introducing me to the whole world of old guitars. So I really didn't know much about him before, you know, at all. But he kind of brought me into that world, and so I was carrying around this guitar pick, and then, you know, the short version is I found the old Martin I always wanted sitting in a pawn shop in Vancouver, and it was on you know, what they were asking for it, I knew instantly was not anywhere close to what it was worth, but I could see that maybe need some work too. So,
but you weren't quite sure what it was.
I knew it was a D18, and I knew it was a 47. So at least that's what they claimed at the pawn shop, you know. But it was the only acoustic guitar in a room full of, you know, like electric flying V's. And
I need to go to this pawn shop.
Yeah, it was a pawn shop in Vancouver, and I had, you know, it was like my lucky day. I'd already had a really good day. I'd been delivering or getting ingredients nearby, and I'd gone to a taco place called Little Conejo. Sorry, this is really too long, but You know, like, can we talk about tacos for a little while? No. I go to the taco place and I have this amazing lunch. And the owner of the shop is like, he knows about our beer, and he's just a really nice guy. And if you guys live in the Portland or Vancouver area, go to Little Canoe. It's incredible. So I'm having tacos, and we really enjoy our chat. And there's another local brewer there, you know, delivering beer or something like that. I mean, it was really cool. One of those kind of conversations. I love this business. I love making beer and going around and meeting cool people. And I'm on my way out, and I'm like, I need to get some coffee. What's the best cup around here? Definitely go up to go up to this place up the road. So I run up there, and I'm waiting in line. I get some beans and order my drink, and they're like, oh, your coffee's been paid for. So I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, oh yeah, they friend down a Little Canoe and called it in for you. And I was like, okay, this is my lucky day, right? So I had seen this pawn shop across the road, and before I left, I had my coffee. I pulled the van over, the brewery van, and I'm like, I'm gonna go check it out. This is during the pandemic, and they wouldn't let you inside.
Oh, this is that recent.
Yeah, it's pretty recent. So they wouldn't let me inside, and I looked in the window, and I could see the Dread sitting in the very back of the room, up in the corner, the very back, and far away from all the amps and all the other guitars. And I had the person come over, how can I help you? And I'm like, you can't come in, it's pandemic. Okay, well, I'll stand out here on the sidewalk behind the gate. And I'm like, is that what I think it is? And he's like, that one? And I'm like, that's Martin, right? And he goes, yeah, it's an old D18. I'm like, what year? 47. Wait, what? Really? Like, no way.
Yeah, it's hard to believe he knew it was a 47. Yeah.
It seemed impossible. So I'm like, can I play it? And he's like, yeah, if you give me your wallet and your keys, So I give my, all right, what else you got? My jacket, car keys. I give him everything I have, and he unchains the door and hands the guitar out, locks the door again. And I'm just standing there. I guess I had my phone. I had my phone so I could take some photos. And I took some photos instantly. I was just trying to get the serial number right away. And I don't have them memorized at this point. I have no idea what the run is.
You don't?
No one knows. I mean, there are people who know. Hallie probably knows. You know. So I know now, but I mean, I'm getting chills because I'm thinking, like, crap, this might be the guitar I've been waiting for, and I've already had this really cool day. So I'm like starting to get this like mad idea that maybe I'm gonna spend like 2 months salary on this beer, or on this guitar. So I take a lot of photos, and I instantly call my friend Dave back in Charleston. What do you think about this? And he's like, take pictures. Send, what's the serial number? You got to call this guy. So he tells me to call Dennis Burke, who worked on your guitar.
Oh, yeah.
And we post something on maybe on a forum somewhere trying to find out a little more, because it's. Are you all
you're standing on the sidewalk like?
All the photos and texting and calls that happened really quick, and I gave the guitar back. I didn't buy it that day. I didn't have money.
Oh, okay.
But I was like, you think it's gonna sell? And they're like, no, it's been here for a long time. I was like, I can't believe that either. But don't sell it to anyone else. And he's like, well, you gotta just buy it, or else. I mean, it's gonna be gone if someone pays for it. Okay, pressure's on, right? So I authenticate the guitar. I get the serial number. I sent all the pictures to Dennis Burke, and he's like, yeah, that looks legit. It's just from photos, but you could tell that. And I think the headstock, the bridge, the saddle,
I knew
everything. You could tell. So I'm not very familiar, but I felt more confident with each passing day. And then I went back and I tried to negotiate, and they're like, hell no, you're not getting a deal on this any more than the price it is now. And I'm not going to say what it was, but I will say it was definitely a fraction, probably about 75% off what it would be worth. And so I bought it. And I took it down to Dennis in Eugene, and he fixed it up. He had it for several months. He actually did a pretty extensive bit of work in a way. I had to do a neck reset, refrets. But it wasn't major surgery. It was
a standard
kind of
old
standard
guitar, like
neck reset, refrets. That's pretty standard.
So I know I have gone on way too long about my guitar. But the beautiful thing is that when I met you guys, and here comes Hal, and he's like, well, I've got a 47 Martin. And we couldn't believe that we had two guitars on the same.
And they're
year.
just a couple serial numbers apart, I think.
Yeah, I think there wasn't much.
It's amazing. They only made like 500 or 600 guitars that year. And
I have a photo of you guys holding them up.
Yeah.
And I still like kind of pull it up and show people, and people that don't know old guitars are like, all right, his looks like crap and yours looks brand new.
I wouldn't say that's true.
Mine has patina.
Yours the patina of age. That's right. Yeah. Patina of age. But yeah, it sounds incredible, your guitar. And I think mine was in a case so long that it was kind of case bound. And I mean, it was literally under some guy named Eli's bed for a long time. and he went and sold it. And so it is slowly opening up. And I'm coaxing it back to life. Hopefully, I'm like, it's really fun to have, and it's an heirloom and something I'll just treasure
it's
my whole
fantastic.
life.
Yeah.
And good luck, Tom.
And part of the thing on this one is, like, all of the wood around here is 80 thousandths instead of 110 thousandths.
That's what
so that's
you mentioned.
but just the wood underneath the X bracing is all that's 110 thousandths. So
It's so cool how guitars, it comes down to those like micro fractions, tone woods. We've talked a lot about X bracing. For those listening who don't know about, the bracing inside the guitar holds the back and sides on, and it changes over the years to get louder, and changes the tone of the guitar, and then you can open up and people go back and modify and so forth. It's like, it is so inside baseball at that point. But I love it. I love learning about it and like going and learning about the techniques that are coming back. And Dennis Burke, using hide glue, mixing up his own hide glue.
Yeah,
he had pre-ivory band ivory before before Elephant Ivory was thankfully banned as a trade. Somehow he gets a hold of some, so he can put a new saddle on the guitar, and to match the specs from 1947. So. And he was so nice to work with too.
Yeah, he worked on this. He overhauled my guitar too. My guitar is not like old. It's, I guess you would call vintage, because it's like a
80s.
late 80s. But I bought it on eBay because I saw the fretboard was worn down, like deep grooves, like an 1/8 of an inch from the nut up to like the 7th fret. Every string was like worn into the fretboard.
Right, just into the ebony.
So I wouldn't normally buy a guitar without playing it, but I could tell that someone really liked that guitar.
Right.
And so I gave it to Dennis. I bought it and I gave it to Dennis for, I don't know, a couple months. And he redid everything and kind of made it look like a vintage one. He put a through saddle in and redid the saddle, the bridge plate, and
they put a maple bridge plate in instead of
he put in an old, like one of his old bridge plates, like an old bridge plate that's old maple, and shaped everything. It looks like a pre-war. It just has sort of patina like a pre-war. It's not Brazilian rosewood, but
that's so awesome. So the moral of the story is, if you guys see an old guitar somewhere and you want to know, call Sawtooth and Sons or Dennis Burke. They will tell you, buy it or run away. And like, how many times have you like, you definitely put some down too, you're like, this is the one. And then like, no. And I definitely had so many dalliances with guitars where I thought, now I'm ready. I'm going to spend all my money on this guitar. And it was never the right time. And I waited. I think it was worth waiting for, Doesn't mean I don't like to look at new old or other guitars too. It becomes kind of like a car obsession, or like some people have.
It is a little bit like that. Like you just like enjoy the process of
just
looking.
enjoy the process, and the smell of an old guitar, the smell of the wood and the glue and the strings, everything about it is like is just one kind.
And if you think that's an obsession, get into the old banjo.
I know. There's another Dave story. He found a Gibson Master Tone in like a thrift store in Walla Walla or something. I mean, unbelievable, or a Deering or something bananas, and bought it, and like he had it for a long time, and so like the hunt. I think it's about the hunt too,
sort of. But it's also that standing joke about, I don't remember his name, but I know he had a 47 D18 with the shaved braces and.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it was so cool. What are the odds that very small odds.
Yeah, I actually reference the picture a lot of you guys holding your two 47 D18s.
We'll put it up on the podcast. It's just
yours wasn't driven over by a pickup, so.
Yeah, no, it definitely was not. Yeah, knock on wood. That's what never happens. Well, nice. You guys want to do one more for us? Speaking of pickups and old guitars.
You want to do Bury Me Beneath the Willow?
Okay.
Sorry. And
then we were gonna do.
Drink Up and Go Home.
And Tom Dooley.
That both are great. You guys nailed that one. Do them both if you got time. Good. Are we good?
Key win.
Well, D, or if we do D, do you want to do open position?
Sure.
Normally when I play with my dad, he'll sing lead. Well, either one of us will sing lead, and then he'll take the harmony on the chorus, and I sing lead on the chorus. On this one, I sing lead throughout, but then I do the harmony on the chorus, and
I sing lead.
on the chorus.
It's really odd.
It must be hard to keep straight though. Like
You always have to
switching.
remind me. You're singing melody.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes you point up, right? You're up. You're low.
Yeah.
You're high. You're low.
Sometimes, yeah.
See if I remember the song. Tonight I'm sad, my heart is lonely for the only one I love. When shall I see her? Oh, no, never till we meet in heaven above. So bury me beneath the willow, under the weeping willow tree, so she will know where I am sleeping, and perhaps she'll weep for me. Tomorrow was to be our wedding. Oh God, God, where can she be? She's out a courting with another and no longer cares for me. So bury me beneath the willow, under the weeping willow tree, so she may know where I am sleeping, and perhaps she'll weep for me. She told me that she dearly loved me. How could I believe it untrue? Until the angel softly whispered, she will never care for you. So bury me beneath the willow, under the weeping willow tree, so she will know where I am sleeping, and perhaps she'll weep for me. So she will know where I am sleeping, and perhaps she'll weep for me.
All right, guys. Before you play this, I just want to say thanks again for everyone listening, and please tell us and the listeners how they can learn more about Sawtooth and Sons, your tour dates, and where to find you online, all the good stuff.
Well, we're playing on Saturday
This Saturday.
at the Multnomah Grange.
But you won't.
That may or may not, this may
Yeah.
or may not air before Saturday,
Yeah.
probably not. But, you're playing out there. Do you have a Facebook or a
We
page?
pretty much
or-
do everything through Facebook, which is facebook.com, Sawtooth and Sons.
Sawtooth and Sons.
Yeah.
Okay. What about, is there any other way people can find out about more of their website for the band, or just
That's the
that's the one.
quote unquote website.
Yep.
Yeah.
What about plans for this summer? Like, do you have things a little later that get on
Well,
deck?
it's Bluegrass Festival Central during the summer here. We haven't. It's been so crazy busy. We haven't really booked anything. We have some stuff in the fall already booked. Pumpkin Patches is
that's
sort of the name of the game.
Yeah.
Wait, the one out. What's it called? The one over in Salem or what? No, near.
Yeah. the
Heiser Farms or
Heiser Farms near.
Yeah, that place
Not
is
deep.
great.
yeah.
So nice. What a fun place to go. We took Teo there. And it was so nice. He loved it.
Yeah, cannon, the like tanks and cannons and
So good. So on your Facebook page, you'll have your listing for upcoming shows and photos and some really cool, Hal brought in some amazing photos of Sawtooth back in the day. Are there some pictures of the old days on there? That would be so cool
Yeah.
to show people those. And we just, again, really appreciate you guys coming by and playing some tunes for us. It was amazing. And yeah, so what are you going to send us out with?
drink up and go home, but I'm not sure what
G.
key. In G.
I think so. That's C, right?
That is C.
You sit there crying, alone in your beer. You think you got trouble, my friend. Listen here, so don't tell me your trouble. I got enough of my own. Be thankful you're living. Drink up and go home. Fresh out of prison, 6 years in the pen. Lost my wife and family, no one to call friend. So don't tell me your trouble. I got enough of my own. Be thankful you're living. Drink up and go home. You won. Back there sits a blind man,
How blind is he?
so blind you can't see. But he's not complaining, so why should you or me? So don't tell me your trouble. I got enough of my own. Be thankful you're living. Drink up and go home. So don't tell me your trouble. I got enough of my own. Be thankful you're living.
Soulboat Sessions is brought to you by Wolves and People Farmhouse Brewery in Newberg, Oregon, brewing experimental and distinctive farmhouse and wild ales since 2016, like Honeycomb, Instinctive Travel Saison, and Oregon Beer Awards Gold Medal winner, Traveling Companions. Look for our handcrafted beers across Oregon, distributed by Day One, and in great bottle shops in the following states so far: Colorado, North Carolina, Virginia, New York, and more to come. Wolves and People Farmhouse Brewery is open Wednesday through Sunday every afternoon and makes the ideal spot to gather with friends over a picnic and some award-winning brews with hyper-local ingredients. Look for the weekly Bluegrass Jam every Thursday. For Wolves and People, come run with us. Show credit time, everyone. Soulboat Sessions is recorded and produced here on Springbrook Farm by Wolves and People Farmhouse Brewery in a tiny, mighty 1912 cottage with old guitars on the wall and an ever-dwindling collection of fresh beers in the fridge. The show is lovingly recorded, produced, and remixed to perfection by Andrew Kay, who plays a mean guitar himself. So follow him on Instagram at Andrew Kay. That's Kaye. And I'm Christian DeBenedette, your host, co-producer, and not coincidentally the founder of Wolves and People Farmhouse Brewery. So we'd like to thank the following amazing folks for making this podcast happen. First and foremost, Hal and Andrew Spence for the time and wonderful playing, singing, and storytelling. For more information regarding booking Sawtooth & Sons for shows, please contact Andrew Spence at 909-913-3668. Thank you to Martin Guitars for making the finest guitars ever, including Hal's 1947 D18 you heard on this very episode. And we'd also like to thank the excellent local news and events resource known as Newsberg on Instagram at Newsberg. That's at NEWSBERG_. So great place to check in on what's going on in Newberg, events, news, breaking news profiles. We really love what they're doing, so I hope you'll give them a follow too. Follow us on Instagram on at the Soulboat Sessions and let us know what you think. We'd like to hear your rants and raves, and if you're really feeling the love, some $2 bills via Venmo at Wolves and People. We'll take ideas for new episodes, corrections, complaints, and odes of praise. If you are an artist and you want to appear on the show, by all means, send a smoke signal to podcast@wolvesandpeople.com. And tell everyone you know that loves music and fermentation there's finally a podcast for both. So thanks for listening. Keep the strings warm and the beer cold, and see you next time on the porch.